see. Yeah, we'll just go right down the line.
Okay, perfect. I have about an hour because my son gets out early.
That's fine. I have 3
25.
shows back to back to
I
back. So
saw it, so I just perfect. So
yeah, it is
yeah.
perfect. Absolutely perfect. And if I have to push someone back a little bit, I will. But no, I think we're going to be fine. Okay, let's see.
Okay.
We'll start with this one. There was another one. God, your stuff is like crazy. And that's what I'm seeing with you in this. God, who is it that I'm trying to think of? Oh, I can't remember her name right now. God. Ascension and age do some hellacious things to your memory. So this is 6 days ago.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah, they're coming in? Okay, let me just get back to you. Okay, we'll start with that one. All right, let me go over here. Boom. Turn off the music. No, we got 12 people in the house.
Woohoo.
All right. Okay, let me get Valerie's name up here. All right, we got Valerie Elster in the house. Can I make this bigger?
Yes.
I think this needs to be bigger.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, here we go. 18. We'll make it an 18. Boom. Yeah. Things have been moving fast and furious, right? And I noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, welcome back. I'm sorry. I don't have very good manners.
Thank you so much. So glad to be here. Thank you for having me. Hi, everybody.
Yeah, we got so many people. You know, so much has been going on. It's been kind of a crazy summer for myself and I think everybody. And we're getting back into the swing of consistent shows again. So it's good to, we got a lot of people that want to come on. But sometimes I do things off of just like we all do, like off of intuition, right? You know, and synchronicity. And I was noticing you, and God, I can see her face, and I can't think of her name. Jenny something, and then you, and then of course bits and pieces from other people out there. But I noticed you guys were talking about the same thing, and which is not unusual. But what I found a bit unusual was, I guess I would say it like the coding, like some of the words that you were using, and I was like, what's going on here? So I kind of wanted to dive into that a little bit. I know we just got an hour, and but yeah, I don't know. I guess first of all, I know you're out on the West Coast. It seems like everywhere I turn, people are going through it more every day. It's so funny because if I say it or I hear somebody saying it, which I don't say it much anymore. I don't say, "Hey, I'm good," I'm perfect. Jennifer Catron, she's the other one that one of the other ones
Jennifer,
I was trying to think of. Yeah. But like I have a friend the other day, about 4 or 5 days ago, pretty well put together, and they were saying to me, "Man, I'm good. I'm just chill. I'm good. Everything's fine." Next day I saw him and flat on his ass. So it's a very humbling thing. But anyway, you've been on a few times, and I know a lot of people know who you are. You have a lot of different kind of streams going, but you and obviously you're very anchored into Mother Earth. And what's going on with you? We'll dig into some of your coding and stuff because I want to pull up a couple of your memes so I can understand what you're saying and how extensive it is, because I know it is. But yeah, what's going on with you? What are you seeing out there?
Wow. Okay. Well, yes. So what you're saying about summer, and am I coming in because I'm seeing myself later? Is that me?
No, you're fine.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's on my side. It's just a few minutes later. So yes, everything you said. Hey, Carolyn. It's been very humbling, and part of it is, as we rise, Todd, we also have to go deeper into the earth, and so I think that's especially this year what's been happening is we've had to fully embody and ground, literally, not just energetically anymore, literally ground into the planet, which for me is inner earth because I do a lot of work there. And also it's been a lot of preparation, this last how many years, I've been doing this specifically, this kind of worked for 10 years, almost 11. I started in the end of 2011, as many of you did. So we're at that point where we're getting ready for, what we would call this tantric, activation or full, Gaia orgasm, because that's what's happening. That's what's happening.
Wow.
Oh,
Wait, where's your microphone at? Where's your microphone at?
oh, can you hear me? I can put my headset. Would that be better?
Yeah, your microphone has a static in it, and I just want to
Okay, let's try that.
plug that in.
How's that? Better?
Test, test, test. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, okay, it went away. Perfect. Wait,
Okay, good.
you're there. Okay, we got you. Okay,
Yeah,
so
okay.
you just said a bunch of stuff right there, and that's the language I'm
Yeah.
talking about. I'm watching you do it. I'm watching Jennifer do it, and a couple other women out there. I see their little posts, and they're using these weird. It's not weird codes. It's just like I know that there's more behind the words that they're using. So,
Yes.
so like, we'll just start with what you just said. Like when you say, it's so funny because I used that same term yesterday, organic, orgasmic, and I was talking about
Yeah.
the earth, and I can't remember what I was talking about exactly, but it feels like what you're talking about and these others are talking about. It's more, you can't even use words, but what do you mean by that? Like we had all this stuff out there, we pull it in, now we're anchoring, or we should have been. And now we really have no choice to anchor into the earth. What does that mean? And what is Mother Earth's
Yes.
orgasmic cycle? What is that?
Well, funny enough, tomorrow is that 8-year Venus Earth alignment. Have you seen that rose? They call it the Venus rose, the sacred geometry, with how Venus and Earth interact with each other. So
I
tomorrow is the alignment. It's 8 years. So this is, a lot about the feminine is about reconnecting with her, right? Her grids,
right.
the inner Earth, the energetic ley lines, which many of us have been doing for years as grid workers. So it's about all of that information because she is ready, she is ascending as we are all ascending. We are on her. So this is, it's, I'm going to say search and rescue. That's not exactly right. But a lot of this mission has been about getting here and freeing up not only the planet, but all of the species that live here.
Yeah.
We are obviously a major species here, but there's thousands of others.
Yeah.
So this has been a huge mission for all of us together as we bring our remembrance from our past incarnations. This is the soul family remembrance. And that's the big part of what's been happening.
Wow.
Hey, Bleeport. Hey, Mothership Alliance. I do have language. I do speak language, as you remember.
Yeah.
I speak a lot of the original language of Mother Earth. So I'm a primordial, people call me a primordial grandmother because I hold a lot of that wisdom
Yeah.
within my body.
Wow.
And yes, no yanging with yin because this has been about the rebalance of power, which you know about. The Ashishambashande Sanjay Nahunia So it's remembering who we are and why we're here, which has been originally that wake up journey in 2012, 13, 14. And then what's my mission? What am I here to do? Find the others. And then we have things to remember together and also to repair. A lot of the repair work has been about repairing the grids, repairing the ley lines. Because we're supposed to be very energetically connected. We have telepathic abilities from Atlantis, the heart technology from Lemuria. These are pieces that had to be reclaimed and healed, right? Now we're doing it in our bodies. Now we're physically in our physical vessel having to reintegrate all of these codes that we've been working on. And she feels it. And she is also activating from the inside. That's the inner earth realm. Because we've done all the work. We're at that juncture in this timeline to fully activate all of the inner earth grids. Everything goes back online, Todd. Everything.
Wow. God, there's a lot to go through there. All right, let me just try to say. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I had a long day yesterday, and I probably
Master
pushed
love, exactly.
pushed it a little bit too hard, and and I got
Yeah,
a
I
long day
understand.
today, and I'm just trying to keep my wits. But yeah, so like, God, you said a lot there. I wanted to go one direction, but now you just said something. So she's like everything, like we're taking it into our body now, right?
Yes.
That's what you're saying. And
Yes.
I is there a direct? I mean, because I know it's a natural phenomena. I know that no matter who you are, if you're here, you might transition, but if you're here,
Yeah.
you're going through it. Everybody's going
Yeah.
through it, right? Is there? And I know that's like I said, a natural cycle, but is there a minimal, a substantial, a full, or no correlation to the inner work that we do, like the mental, emotional
Yes.
work that we do in terms of owning our shit, basically. You know, is that related to grounding? Is that related to this transformation within our bodies?
Yes. Very much so, because, these are avatars that were created a long time ago. This form that we've been in is very highly advanced form. But as we know, just looking at some of the history and some of our remembrances, that there was a lot of abuse that happened through Atlantis mainly because, there's also been a very separation consciousness and a separation from heart, from, root and from mind. And we have been repairing these separations through having to go inside because that's the only way to do it. Like we're updating our own technology, Todd. We're updating these mainframes, which is us.
Right.
We are the quantum computer. It is us. It is these physical vessels that have also been upgraded and upgrading with everything that we've been ingesting. We've been receiving from the solar codes. We've been getting from this, from the earth, right? You stand on her and you feel, if you're connected, you feel that telluric magic. That's who we are. That's our roots.
Yeah.
So it is a reconnection. It has been a reconnection and a remembrance in order to understand what do we need to do to bring us back to balance, harmony, unity, love.
Yeah.
Right. This is a mission of love. This has been a mission of love, returning to love.
Yeah. I don't know what happened. Your mic started doing that cracking again. How weird.
Oh, really? That's so weird. I'm on my headset.
Yeah, it wasn't doing it once you put it in. Yeah, whatever. Okay.
See?
I don't
Yes.
know. I don't know what it is.
It's high energy.
You know what? It probably is. Yeah, I've been having a lot of weird things happen on the shows, but it can be humidity too. I used to hear the same sound but it doesn't matter. It comes and goes. You're good.
Okay.
Okay,
Sorry, guys.
so there's a direct because I'd like to. Yeah, there's so many topics out there that, and I still had some things I wanted to
Oh, yeah.
ask you, and I will, but yeah, but so like, it's it's weird because here we are, we're pulling down all this information for the last 10 years, give or take, right? And
Yeah.
people talk about embodying and anchoring, and and at the end of the day, at the root of it all is this internal dialogue between, let's say, little Todd and big Todd, right? And walking the talk. Like, and I don't mean that like, oh, it's easy to do. No, I mean like we were faced with stuff every day that we have to admit to ourselves that we don't know anything about or we were wrong.
Hmm.
Or it's irrelevant, or it doesn't matter, or whatever, or stay in your own lane. But there's this weird kind of thing happening, and it seems to be very, from a multidimensional aspect, very mundane,
Yeah.
boring. You know what I mean? Blood bags, bones and blood and whatever, right? Tissue,
Yeah.
uh, and then on top of that, you've got the whole dance of the masculine and feminine. And I'm
Hmm.
talking collective energy. And I will say right up front, I don't think masculine means male, and I don't think feminine means female.
Yeah.
The male may be more attuned to the masculine fluctuations, right? And the female may be to the feminine. But
Yeah.
just to kind of go through this real quick, we know Mother Goddess landed, or the Mother Goddess energy landed a few years ago. The
Yes.
masculine, the Father God energy, I'm going to call the Father God energy, landed after that, like maybe in the last couple of years, but really everything just accelerated this year. And I'm
Yes.
watching a lot of women out there writing in terms of our men. The men are going through it tough, and that may be true. But just like the Mother Goddess energy, it affected everyone. And this Father God energy has been a real trip since I would say like the middle of the summer. And I'm just noticing it with what I do. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on it because I don't think I'm right about anything. I'm just wondering because I want to learn. Has there been in the last, whatever, 3 months, 6 months this year, a major impression from the Father God, Divine Masculine energy that's put on some intense pressure on not just the men but the women? Am I wrong, or does it matter, or what do you think?
No, you're right. No, you're absolutely right. Part of it, Todd, and that was a beautiful articulation, but part of it has been, when I awoke in 2012 or had my second awakening, I call it, it was all feminine. The divine feminine was so strong. I was attracting so many people were just showing up out of nowhere because I was running that energy through my body so I could remember. So what's happening now, because the masculine has also had to face some of these pieces. And I have noticed, and also the women, we've had to do our own work, right? I had to work on my wounded masculine because when that came out, it wasn't divine. It was based in, some old separation,
Right.
domination culture. So I think as a collective, we've moved into more of, hey, we have to do this together. We have to
Right.
heal the rift between head and heart. I'll say, Todd, heart and head, masculine, feminine,
Right.
if we really want to do that. Because for me, I've seen these analogies in Lemuria and Atlantis. Lemuria is the heart, masculine, Atlantis is the head,
That's
right?
right.
Lemuria is about love, and the Atlantis has been about technology.
Yeah.
But both have beautiful aspects that have been basically not, overlooked in some ways because people remember the cataclysm. They remember the floods, right? They remember when these things happened. That's why the body has been going through so much just in this last couple of weeks because we are somatically rewiring. We have to rewire the physical vessel
Right.
because that's where the memories are. They're all in the body. So there's no room for any of that. There's no room for those timelines of destruction.
Right.
We're in a very new energy and a very new time. And so our physical vessel is having to up level, so to speak, right, to meet where the planet is right now and where she is going. And I said disclosure recently. I don't know if you saw that post, but I saw it a few days ago, right before I did an activation on the 19th. I literally saw the curtains, Todd, pulling up. And I was like, "Oh wow, this is disclosure." I'm getting chills right now just doing that.
What was that entitled? Disclosure?
Uh, what did I say? I have to look. It was a few days ago because I did my
Yeah.
activation, and then I was eating a salad, and my crown broke in my mouth, and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." Got
I
we got
saw that. I thought you were talking about the crown on your head.
no. Well, are we getting new crowns? Yes. This is about, right? We're getting new
Yeah.
crowns. So
Yeah.
it was just an analogy for me, but
No, I got you.
yeah.
Yeah.
A couple days ago, what did I say though? New codes, inverted templates. 2 days ago, inverted templates still moving out of the field today. Certain disclosures will be happening soon.
I
Ancients,
saw that.
Hunabku. Okay.
I saw that. Yeah. And yeah, and you were just talking about the mind and the heart, masculine. Yeah. Okay. This is a perfect example. Like 3 days ago, I was driving home from the studio through the canyon over here. Every time I go through the canyon, you get all kinds of stuff going on. And
Yeah.
I was actually coming in. That's what it was like. It was at the beginning of the day, and I started to receive. It was really weird because this isn't something normal that happens to me. I started to receive this collective data, and it was really about the male, right?
Hmm.
And it was showing me how the pressure from what I'll call the Father God, Divine Masculine, that we were talking about, what in general it was pushing out or putting pressure on. So basically, long story short, what was happening was I was being shown the men this group of men or whatever they represent was freaking out.
Yeah.
Not because of the feminine, but because of the Father God, the true
Yeah.
masculine. And so what they were doing, and they were showing me the programs, they were running to porn, they were running
Yes.
to misogyny, they were running to dominance, sexual power. They were running to all these things where their sexual energy, not the feminine, because it's built different, right? They were showing me all these programs that the male, the average human male was, putting his energy into, which would be, you might call distorted sexuality, right?
Yes.
But then
Topic.
it showed me what the female was, what it looked like to the female, and I'm like, wow, this never happens to me. And what it was the same thing he was feeling: decrepitness, the darkness, the shame, the filthy,
Shame.
right?
Yep.
Well, from his eyes, he's going, oh shit, and then he runs to the massage
Feminine.
parlor or to the porn site, right?
Mm-hmm.
She
Yeah.
was sitting there going, that's disgusting. And,
Yeah,
and this is the
anymore.
human part of us, right? And I thought, wow,
Yeah.
that's really weird. And just to finish it up, because what you said really, as I went through the day, I actually had 3 interactions, two online and one in person, and actually got this confirmed, like through
Yeah.
the stories they were telling me. So I thought, this is
Yes.
really crazy. Now you talk about that we have to do this together, right?
Yes.
How do we do that? How do we do that? Do you have any idea?
Well, that's a great example of this distorted. This theme came up. This distorted sexuality, right? Because as a feminine, what they really want, what the masculine really wants, is the mother, right? To feel the love. It's about love.
Right.
And so all of these things you just mentioned are not, right? They
Right.
just mimic. And this is based on some of the false templates, inverted templates, right? And the men have been hijacked too. I mean, this is both of us. And so coming together into this unification, because we have to unify in order to actually hold the field, right? Those of us that have been on this journey for many years, we know this. We can't expect others out there who aren't aware of what's happening to, to get it. If we can't actually hold these relationships, and if
Right.
we can't actually hold this field, so we're all being called up in that way, and the feminine holding the space. We have been holding the space,
Right.
and the masculine finally, I can feel them rising. And it's the kings. It's time for the
Right.
kings to rise, because the feminine, and I got this message many years ago, you will need to have people around you when you step out and start speaking what you're going to speak. Okay. It's one thing to be on Facebook. It's a whole nother thing to be on, national, international news talking about things.
Right.
So the protection that we have been asking for, it feels like it's finally here without this distorted sexuality, and these are the templates. The community has to do this together. There has to be a healthy interaction, communication. Of course, the physical, sexual part, this is possible beyond anyone's wildest dreams, by the way. It's just that has been not taught. We haven't been taught. The men haven't been taught about sacred sexuality, neither have the women. This is remembrance for me. I didn't have this growing up. So it's about coming back to that wholeness. And it's only through the heart, Todd.
Yeah.
That's it. It has to come from the heart. Otherwise, it is distorted.
Yeah.
And that's why the sexuality was targeted, because that's
course.
creation.
Of course.
Right? That's the creation energy. So Egypt's coming up this week, Todd. This is all about this. Egypt is a really important aspect. Hey, Robbie. So, so those of us that hold the primordial blueprints, which is the dragon, that's a lot of the dragon stuff. This is inner earth. These are our, guardians and protectors. So, we have held that space. We have asked to be met where we have met. But really, we can only meet ourselves or meet each other where we've met ourselves. So those of us that have said yes to this mission, we get our asses kicked daily.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I'm. That's
So
why I'm wanted. That's
yeah,
why I'm wanting to dive into this stuff too, because
yeah.
I'll be honest with
We're
you.
dragons.
I'll be honest with you. I'm sick and fucking tired of the whole
I know.
masculine,
Robin.
feminine, male, female,
I
fucking
know.
bullshit. And not. I'm not saying this about anyone or anything or all of us or none of us. What I'm saying is that this is part of the separation. And
Yes, of
if
course,
we,
because
yeah, and if any of us is sitting here waiting for something else to deliver, then
yes,
we're going to be waiting until the end of time. Okay?
yeah,
So it is happening in itself. And yes, you're in a woman's body, I'm in a man's body, but I'm half masculine and I'm half feminine, right? You know what I mean? And
yes,
how do we do that? Because, like, even what you said about 2011, I didn't know it at the time, and it's very interesting to me. But when I went homeless in 2011, 2012, it
oh,
was the mother.
yeah,
I was talking to Father God, but as time went on, I realized it was the mother. And so you were saying the same thing about yourself and what happened to women. But
yeah,
so I guess, what is the path? How does somebody, or have we done it? And this is what it looks
yes.
like. How does somebody actually achieve that equilibrium within themselves? And if they do that, is it detectable on their external? You would think it would be. Go ahead.
Yes, apologies, one love. Robin is now one love, so um I mean, that's a great question, and honestly, we have done it already. So, many of us are from future timelines.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to say that because um that we don't have enough time to go into all that detail, but if you're coming from a future timeline, you understand what I'm saying. Meaning, I worked 3 years ago is now finally ready to come into being, because it's just like when you write a program, Todd. A computer program. You might write it, but is everyone going to actually integrate it? Are they going to upgrade their Windows?
Right.
No, they might never do it. They might do it 7 years later. So it's kind of the same concept. So we've already done this. And coming into unity means that there is a peace, a balance, a syntropy between the two sexes, because this planet is was denoted as a two-sex planet, which
Right.
is why there's the masculine and feminine. But if you can keep us arguing and fighting, right, and domination programs through the masculine piece for the feminine is very much a reality, and that's what we are moving out of because it's not working,
Right.
and it hasn't worked. So these are realities, and you mentioned, you as a man, that ego comes up, that solar plexus gets triggered, but really it's about unity, and that's where it comes in. And
Right.
so it's a choice when you're confronted with a choice. How are you going to respond, right?
Right.
If you're responding from love, you're responding from a healthy center. You're not coming from fear or survival, because that's what this planet has been running for
Right.
a long, long time. We've been
Insecurity.
in, of course, that's survival. So moving from, surviving to thriving is a reality, and that's working together from the heart space and honoring each other
Right.
as sister and brother.
Right.
Forget masculine and feminine. We are all one family. We are different hues of one species, right? We forgot because we got separated. And so
Yeah.
it's no one's fault. There's no shame. I know all of this has come up. So if we can forgive ourselves, if we can forgive each other for what's happened, so we can come back to the heart and solve what needs to be solved. We have everything we need on this planet to solve every single thing that we see, everything. And many times the technology has come in and it's been abused, it's been subjugated, right? It's been hidden, it's been used against us. So, these are all programs. This is an old, ancient program that has been running for a long time.
Yeah.
Many of us might have written the program. So a lot of us are here to break the programs. I mean, that's that's the isness. We're here to break stuff and then rebuild it. rebuild it with beautiful co-creative, templates, because this is about the children, honestly. I have a 13-year-old. He's a New Earth leader. I know exactly who he is. And I'm here for him. I'm here for the future. This is for the kids. We've got to create something better for them. And they're ready. They're looking
Yeah.
around going, what the hell is all this crap? And
Right.
my son's like, this is the slowest system.
Yeah.
He calls me ancient. I'm like, you have no idea, honey, how old I am. But anyway.
He's probably right
So,
there with you.
yeah, exactly. I'm like, I
Well,
speak to him in light language, Todd. Since he was a baby, I speak to him in language.
that's awesome.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, and I was doing my thing yesterday when I was broadcasting, and I don't know what I was talking about. I was talking about the potential of a field of consciousness, and
Yes.
how, like, if you had 10 blue people over here and 10 yellow people over here, and those two groups merge within each other, they're limited by their makeup. They're limited by their color, right? But if you take 5 of one and 5 of the other, 5 blue, 5 yellow, now you've expanded the potential because there's more polarities, right? So I
Yes.
totally get that. I totally get the last 12,000 years, how we inverted this thing to really get as much out of it as we could on the home stretch. But it's just so obvious to me that what you're saying is true, because there's been a lot of talk about boundaries, establishing boundaries so you can figure out who you are, but those are going away. I mean,
Yeah.
we're talking about, like, I like what you said too, like, it's not done.
Yeah.
It's done to a point, but in order for us to maximize the potential, it has to be an ultimate whole merge, right? So the two,
Enough of us.
right?
Enough of us.
Yes, you're right about that. Yes. So what I'm saying is like that it's got to be a boundless connection internally and externally, and it would seem like it falls on the masculine and the feminine, which means male and female, because there's a lot of conceptions and misconceptions coming from the human aspect, and you got two different journeys, and it's like two different languages, right? So,
Yeah.
do you think that we'll see? Yeah, I'm sorry. Do you think that we'll see? Do you think that we'll see like modalities or processes or ways and means to actually bring the human genders together?
Well, I think organically it's been happening, especially, with the group, whatever you want to call the 144, because for me, that's really how many people have been working at different levels. I had technology come through, as I've mentioned before, back in 2012, something I was working on in Atlantis to assist, to help people make better decisions. And so a lot of these things are coming, not necessarily from the ground up, because as we activate this intelligence, the body's wisdom starts to run. And then it's just a matter of, facing, oh, well, that doesn't feel like an organic program, right?
Right.
And so if you're coming from an organic place, then everything is going to be utilizing, the tetrahedrons, the sacred geometry. And that's also what happened, because we started following, and what was installed was a closed system.
Right.
And this is an Egypt thing. A lot of these pieces were installed in Egypt, which is why that comes up so much for many of us. And in the sexuality, right? If you can put an inversion in the spine, right? When you have Kundalini, which is our natural energetic system, come up, it gets inverted. It doesn't actually finish the process. And so a lot of people, that's why you mentioned, what happened with the men is they go into a gratification. But isn't it a domination if you really look at what you mentioned for programs? Isn't it about domination? If you look at porn, most of it's about what? Men dominating women.
Right. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, what I saw was they were going to the only thing they've known.
Yeah.
And it was weird because when I was watching it, it was well, it was kind of understood, like whoever was there with me. I don't understand what the hell happened, to be honest with you. And it was like, this isn't going to work for you. It's like that.
Yes.
I could actually see where, like, just say an average man, let's just say, would go into one of those patterns and just not be able to do it anymore. And I thought, wow,
Exactly.
that's pretty cool, like for that to be
Yeah.
off the table.
Yeah,
So-
because it's a bypass, Todd. It's a bypass, right? If all of your chakras aren't engaged, it's a bypass. So it was intentionally created. I was just working on the Atlantis templates this last week, and I saw in the heart where there was an AI piece. I was like, what the hell's that?
What do you mean?
Like, it's a bypass, meaning the natural rhythm of the heart there was a controllable aspect, an AI piece, technology.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh.
So we've been very manipulated. I mean, we all know that, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, we
We've been
designed
very
it.
manipulated.
We designed it.
Well,
Because,
some of us designed it.
well, I mean, like, ultimately, to me, everything's AI. I mean, ultimately, not AI. Ultimately, everything's a goddess substance. But I understand within the game. Yeah, implants galore. I mean,
Yeah. Well,
implants galore. I mean, and that's not to say.
another hour.
Yeah, that's not to say that somebody or some bodies didn't come in and alter what the plan was. But if
Yes.
you look at what Franco De Nicola talked about, it was still all of us making the decision. Everybody had to agree,
Of
right?
course.
So
Yes,
we
and-
agreed to the inverted matrix.
Oh yeah, exactly. And this had come up before, and also people were duped. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
We all made decisions that, like, so there's a lot of trickery. I mean, it's very difficult, when you're working in a lower inverted chakra system. You're not going to have access to all of
Right.
the divine information. We have a divine intelligence built in that wasn't activated, that was subdued, that was controlled, and it was controlled by frequency.
Right.
Okay,
Do-
because
Do you think
frequency.
Do you feel? Yeah, that's a great explanation. Do you feel that as we awaken the information, the data, the code, the wisdom within our bodies, and we remember that the characteristics of the distorted human will start to just fade from our lives? I'm talking about what I call the charismatic children of the ego, like, jealousy, envy, anger, prolonged sadness. You know what I mean? Will those things just fall away?
Well, I think when we can look outside and really feel that we're free, right? Because, the slave system, people have said what this planet was meant for and what happened here is there was a mixture of, the species here, because think about the animals. The animals, we shared roles with the animals. I remember, and we're returning to that. And so I feel like if we have that freedom, if I can wake up and feel that I am free and my neighbors are free, it's not just about me, it's about all of us. We have been in a hierarchy system since day one here.
Yeah.
So, and I've said this from the beginning, part of me is here to flatten the hierarchy. I know that that's part of my role.
Right.
Because if we're flat in the hierarchy, everybody is equal. We have access to the same things, the same resources.
Yeah.
And that's what we're missing. It's still very much controlled. So you've got, the 80-20, right? So this planet, again, has everything we need. The oceans have everything we need. The inner
Right.
earth has a lot of things we need. But we've been quarantined on some level from accessing those because we're considered savages. We have been.
I mean, yeah, I agree with what you're saying. There's quite a few narratives, and I'm trying to just get some on the top of my head. The guy, my friend here, that comes on as a cartoon, the wizard. He has. I mean, his memory, it's like Franco, like even thousands and tens of thousands of lives, and a lot of. But he talked about that. He said that what happened on or about that period of time, this kind of became a prison planet but not a prison
Yes.
planet like Doomsday type of prison planet. Just kind of
Yeah.
like a place where, almost like a drop-off station.
Yeah.
And so again, lending to what a universal mix this incredible planet has, not both from the homogeneous, what came out of the earth and what's been brought here. So it's like I feel like we're taking a setback and turning it into a comeback. That's what I feel like when people talk to me
Oh,
about
yeah.
people talk to me about the threats, and they talk to me about AI, and they talk to me about the Illuminati, whatever. I just look at it as, so what? So what with
Yeah.
what happened? We're here now. Egypt,
Yes.
Lemuria, Atlantis,
Yeah.
etc. is coming online, and we're turning this setback, if that's what it was,
Yeah.
into a comeback. And that's how I feel
Yeah,
about
for
it.
sure. Yeah, you're right on. You're right on. And those timelines are just for remembrance, right? We're just going in those timelines to gather information,
Yeah.
gather data, fix stuff. I mean, I have to go back to Giza. I just got that message yesterday because I was there in 2017, summer solstice, working on the time codes on the plateau. And I just heard, oh, I got to go back and make an adjustment. Okay. So that's what timelines mean. You could go in and run and look and clear and heal. And we've been doing this with the soul family. I've had so many people come into my life. I've been in relationships with people. It's to work together. And
Yeah.
that's why the soul family is here. And some have, we needed to go through our own stuff. As you've said, we've had to go deep into what we've done and not done, and trying to, also have a 3D life. So
Right?
this is
And
not
keep
the
your
beta.
sanity.
This is a mastery, Todd. I mean,
Oh, there's no
you
doubt.
gotta,
There's no doubt.
you gotta be partly insane and partly,
Yeah.
So it's mastering the emotional body, because that's been a big source of where we as a group, right? I look at the collective. We as a collective get manipulated through our emotion. I mean, it's very clear that that's what happens.
Right.
So if you can manipulate through emotion, right, and you can manipulate through fear, because that's first and second chakra,
Right.
and if you haven't done your work, you believe what's happening,
Right.
because that is in the DNA, that has been programmed into the somatic. So the body is what I said, that people, the psychosomatics, everything's getting triggered in the body that hasn't been dealt with,
Yeah.
right? So it's that macro micro situation.
Well, I love what you said too, because we know that the emotions, the unbridled emotions and manipulated emotions, have been the sustenance, for those that have been in the know. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
But
Yeah,
here's where, like I don't know. It's important to get the information out here. I'm talking about like the real world information, like 9/11 and this. That was really important for a lot of people, myself included, to wake up and go, "Wow, this isn't real." But knowing that the emotions are the sustenance, and that is the cosmic commodity. Let's put it that way. That's unique to us.
Yeah.
It to me, there's a shift, and the shift is they were doing that to me. They were doing that to us. But seriously, like come to Jesus meeting. Where am I doing that to people? Where am I manipulating your emotions? Where am I? Because when we do that to somebody, we are taking their energy.
Yeah.
And we are guilty
that's
of
the
that.
hijack.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I guess that's what I'm getting to, is like when I say, are these things going to go away? Because it's almost like our thought process will be in more integrity. It'll be more pure. So will these things, or at least maybe, I guess, these emotions or whatever that are unique to the human, maybe won't be distorted, but they'll still be there. Maybe, I don't know, because some of these emotions are pretty cool.
Yeah, I think, and Jennifer's saying it dissolves within, because so think about an animal, right? They have emotion or they have feeling. Feelings are not emotion. A feeling is a
That's
feeling.
right.
The emotion is the interpretation of the feeling, right?
Wow, that's
So-
something to think about.
Yeah.
Feeling.
This is very,
Feeling is the
Yeah.
yeah.
it's the action, right? Oh, I feel, I got hurt or whatever, some pain
But
or
then the
something.
emotion, yeah. Because I remember like
The emotion.
talking to David Icke, he was talking about the head, which is the mind, the
Yeah.
gut and the heart, right? And the heart being the driver. But yeah, I can see where you're making that distinction between what is a
Yes.
feeling versus what are my feelings, basically.
Yeah. So emotional. And so when I had that awakening, in 2012, December 2012, December 21st, I think. Yes, Athena, exactly. So what I was told was the emotional guidance system in the human was flawed. Something happened,
Hmm.
and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I'm like, oh, I guess I'm here to work on that, right? And then I think a few years later, someone said, oh, you mean the moon?
Yes.
I was like, oh, damn.
Well, I mean, yeah, because I mean there are what I would say credible or people that are
Yeah.
credible that have the narrative, and that would include
Yes.
Matthias de Stefano, Franco de Nicola.
Yes.
That when we made this last deal, twelve
Yeah.
thousand some odd years ago,
Mm-hmm.
that's when the moon was brought in, and the moon was the projector of the
Yes.
distortion, and by more than one account that was shut down, well, right before COVID, and so that the only projection of the old distortions coming from our own
Yes.
implanted ego.
Yes. But remember, it can't happen in real time. Because imagine what the chaos would be. Okay, so this has been a very
Yeah,
methodically organized mission, because you can't just flip a switch.
no,
And because look how many people rely on the moon, right? For what? For light.
yeah,
But we're the light. The light's coming from within
right,
us.
right,
We are holding these diamond frequencies, the diamond heart, because that's what we are. And so as we've moved out of this carbon more into crystalline, right, out of the animal nature, we are part animal. And so to make that shift in our DNA and also in our physical avatar, that's a big undertaking. It's not an overnight thing.
yeah. Well, we can't flip the
So
switch because we want to make it in our bodies.
we wouldn't make it. We would have
Yeah,
a cataclysm. I mean,
yeah,
the
yeah,
the the, the the balance here on Gaia, and many of you who work on the grids know what I'm talking about. I mean, the shamans, this is one of my pieces as a shaman. Like, this is what I do, and this is what a lot of us do. We have to hold the grid. We have to balance. It's a very sensitive planet, and we've got, the sun. You've got the plant. We've got the solar system. There is so much happening on this planet. It seems like it's not happening, but those of us that are on the inner workings understand how delicate it is to be on the surface here. So,
yeah,
it's a multi-dimensional, multi-star system update,
yeah.
which is why we're all here, and we're all representing different aspects, and we all hold different keys. And so those keys, right, when you meet somebody, you're basically doing an energetic key. Oh, hey, it fits here. Let's work on this, and unlocks certain information. And this is what started happening to me in 2012. I didn't have all of this knowledge. It all started dropping in January 2012. That was when it started. I was like, oh crap, I have all this stuff. I remember so many things. So,
January
th-
January the
yeah,
11th, 2012. That was a big one for me. I think for a lot of people that time period. When you when
yeah,
you when you
that's
talk
for me,
about
Todd. Same day. We all got the same day.
yeah, that was I remember
I
that.
love it. I love
Uh,
it.
it's about the time you wrote it's about the time tract or timeline which is non-linear,
Bella, hey.
so you might be moving through many dimensions at once. When at the moment, when you say moving through many dimensions, what does that feel like to you? What's that experience like to you? Like, how does that go for you?
For me, I'm here in the physical reality, but I'm monitoring and receiving information from multiple dimensional realities,
Okay.
right? Or timelines, meaning Egypt. So I'm working on Atlantis. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's done. No, Egypt's popping up, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's just like if you were a programmer. Again, I use a lot of analogies because we are, in a sense, this is software hardware issues, right? These are software hardware compatibilities. And when you make a change one place, just like the movies show us, if you go in the past and do an update, well, then it's going to make it might make some updates somewhere else. It might change something else. So it's very much like that. So, meaning I'm working on Atlantis, I'm working on Lemuria, I'm working on Egypt, I'm working on, in the 3D sense, I have a son. It's like, so I have these pieces that keep me grounded, and then I have aspects that, continue my work in other realms. So,
Right.
It's a taishishuwishin disha and tal yahote farote shakhala night tamai coil sa marutu fai nehitako sa halle taito vaitai. And the language is frequency. I speak original language because it opens up a certain aspect in people, whoever's listening. And also it's a repair, it's an activation mechanism. And it's a remembrance. When I speak language, it triggers something, right? And then it's how that's being utilized. It's a memory. It's a
Right.
memory bank, I guess is the best way to say it.
Yeah.
It shouldn't, right? So it's just, that's something that is part of my makeup, and I am able to communicate on multiple levels with multiple species. So I can know, I've done this before. I've located the dolphins in Hawaii. I know where they are. I can feel them. So it's like I telepathically tune in to them. So it's one of those things. And so I got pulled in early on. Talk about the moon, because I got pulled in early on. I'm like, what am I in? It's like this, multi-dimensional meeting with different star systems. And because I can speak and translate. So, I started getting asked to step in and be a mediator between the realms, which is also what shamans do. So that's why, the galactic shaman term came to me. I didn't make that one up, because I'm able to mediate conversations between the realms and do updates. So I do many things.
Yeah, multi-dimensional is multi-dimensional.
Basically, yeah. It's like, hey, whatever it is, what's on the menu for today?
Yeah, I think what would be a good idea is to get like 2 or 3 or 4 of you together, get them on the screen,
Yeah.
and just go right down the line, because the intel is becoming more and more, there's a convergence. And
Yes.
and some of the things, like if we had a couple hours and we had you and a couple other 2-3 sisters,
Yeah.
we could go right through why Atlantis, why Lemuria, why, and the big one for me is Egypt.
Yes.
And I'm talking about like since the summer, since first
Yes.
of July when I got called over here. It's just
It's
been
huge.
Anubis has just been a constant. Even
We're at that time.
with me always, but even with people I run into, Anubis. I know you're like, hang out with Anubis, and he's been popping in. What does it mean? I'm like, I don't know. Ask him. But yeah. So there's something about Egypt. There really is. There's something about Egypt that I think has that. In other words, Egypt much more of an influence and impact on us than we ever thought. Like, we don't know anything about it.
Yes.
We don't know anything about it. What we've been told, what we can see, but there's something huge and deep there, no doubt.
Well, that was where the major manipulation started. Major. Okay, for the time track. So that's why when I was doing updates in the time codes, because they were hacked.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I got that. I remember that.
Okay.
There was a lot of traffic in Egypt that I remember. There was a whole lot of stuff going on, and really in a very short period of time.
Yeah.
Well, I'll reach out to you, and we'll see if we can't put some kind of
Okay, that sounds great.
Yeah,
I
like
love that idea.
Yeah, like some little
I love that.
panel, where they have,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, and just kind of go through it, and
Yes.
because I'm really a big believer in what you're saying in terms of whether it's any type of encounter, a past memory, past lives. These are simply presentations of to awaken code in us. It's information.
Exactly.
So it's just information.
Timelines.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Which-
talk about timelines, right?
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
say because it's a group of information. That's why when I talk about Egypt, all the Egypt people show up.
Yeah.
Because you're accessing a track, and then it triggers the other people. And I just intuitively know, oh, I need to talk to this person, this. that's what happens. So I just can do it naturally because I've been doing it.
Right.
But yes, you're holding a group of information and it's all interconnected. And then also a lot of the timelines are healed, Todd. I mean, a lot of them are done. We've done what we needed to do.
Yeah.
Now the integration, the physicalization, the root chakra stuff, it can take 1 year, 5 years, 20 years. It's about how we want to hold the space collectively.
Man, I don't want to be taking no
that's
5 or 20 years.
No, me neither, Todd. Listen. Listen.
I heard he told him if this shit doesn't get moving, I'm going to go to Las Vegas and do a Leaving Las Vegas like Nicolas Cage in
No,
that movie.
listen.
Just
It's
drink-
moving, Todd. Trust me.
I know.
I'm on it, Todd. I mean, I'm with you, and everyone who knows me knows I try to do stuff much quicker than that. But also, there's sometimes repercussion, which is why I have to go back to Egypt.
Oh man. Well, that's what we've been doing. You play. You. It's like Jingo. You take one thing out here and it moves over there, or whatever that thing's called.
Bingo.
Bingo.
Exactly. It's a minor adjustment. So, but I do need to go back. But thank you so much, and love everybody.
Yeah. Listen. Best to you and your son. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you,
I'll reach
you
out.
too.
Maybe we can put a
Thank
little
you.
panel
Love it.
together. Okay.
Love to you and Morgan.